Morning, everyone. This is Keith Seymour from Real Talk in Columbia, South Carolina, the United States. Like many of you, I have been this past week been watching the tributes on television. I have BritBox, so I've been able to watch a lot of the British tributes. My family spent our early years when my dad was stationed in England, so we've always kept up with the royal family. And all this week, I have been looking at the tributes of Prince Philip, the late Duke of Edinburgh. And with all his service and his loyalty to the Queen, the one thing that struck me is that this man should be seen to us men. And this guy's 99 years old, so he belongs to an entirely different generation than most people living on this planet. This man is a role model and should be seen as a role model to us men in what it means to be a secure man. Now, I don't know how much of you know much about Prince Philip, so I'll give you a brief summary. Both he and the Queen, they're third cousins to each other. Both are direct descendants of Queen Victoria. The Queen, as we know, didn't expect to become queen when she was a child until her uncle, Edward VIII, became Duke of Windsor and abdicated the throne. Prince Philip, on the other hand, did expect to become king of Greece and Denmark. And then there was some revolution in the 1950s, and the royal monarchy was overthrown, and Prince Philip's family had to flee for England. All he had was his title and I guess some resources. He had a pretty good education. And then he met, and eventually married Queen Elizabeth. He gave up his title. He gave up his links to his country of origin. He gave up everything for 73 years to serve the woman that he loves or loved. I think I even saw a thing where, when upon her coronation in 1952, he kneels down to her and he says, "I'm here for you as your husband, as your helper, as your subject." Wow, that is phenomenal. So let's break this down into everyday standards, an everyday scenario, rather, and take the royal part out of it. Queen Elizabeth is essentially an heiress who has inherited one of the most powerful companies in the entire world. And her husband is a naval war hero. Heiress, military man. Heiress, military officer. The wife makes a lot more money than the husband. And he's willing to stand by her and help her in her work, just as we as men would expect our girlfriends and our wives to stand by and help us without any complaint. Yeah, there were probably rows, there were probably arguments, probably some doozies. You don't survive 73 years of marriage without a couple of arguments. But he was secure in his identity, and that's what's important. He didn't let what he had or didn't have or what his wife had define their marriage or to define him as a man, father, husband, grandfather, and later great grandfather. I thought about this morning as I was watching the funeral live on television. And I thought, we live in a world where in the 21st century, we as men are threatened by women who make more than us, wives and girlfriends who make more than us. They have a better education than us. And I guess that's a residue from a dominantly patriarchal society. But I think the fact that a man almost a century old can get over that should indicate that those of us 50 years of age and younger, 80 years of age or younger, for that matter, should be able to get over it. I'm guilty of it. The other day I was on CatholicMatch.com and I saw this really nice girl that we were like matched 90%. And I saw that she had a master's degree. I said, I'm not going near that. Shame on me. What I'm essentially saying here is this. The Duke of Edinburgh's legacy to us men should be this. It's not what we have, the car that we drive, the apartment we live in, the house that we live in, the title that we hold at work. The job that we have that defines us. Yes, they are important parts of our life, and yes, we as men by society are defined by our jobs, whereas a woman can be defined by her job, her relationship with her husband, her father. Not to sound sexist, but that is the truth. But it's not those things who define us as a man. It's how we treat people around us. It's what's in our heart and in our soul. It's our ability to go beyond ourselves and learn more about different cultures, ways of thinking, society, just as Prince Philip did himself. Now, we don't have the means that he has, true, but that's not what I'm talking about here. We have the ability to be secure in ourselves. And ladies, I would be remiss if I didn't address you. The Duke of Edinburgh was able to be secure in himself because even though his wife knew that she outranked him, she always gave him the credit that he deserved. She respected him as a husband, as a father, and as a man. And the economic differences between them, the fact that he had to bow every time he entered a room, where she happened to be, was unimportant to her. She looked at the person, not the personage. She looked at the individual, not his title. So while I agree that this man should be admired for 70 years of service to his queen and country and all the charities that he's created, his work on the environment, his work with youth, his naval service, and probably many other things that we don't even know about the general public, particularly here in the States. I think that the legacy he leaves behind to his fellow males is this: be secure in yourself as a man. Don't look at whether the woman in your life has more, less, or the same amount. Because at the end of the day, that's not what matters. What matters is how much you love the person. And if you feel secure in whatever you do, then that's what's important. This is Keith Seymour signing off from Real Talk. Please feel free to visit my YouTube page, make any comments on it. You may also email me, or rather, communicate with me on Twitter. That Twitter address is Right Stuff Seymour at Twitter. That's WRITECMOUR at twitter.com. I am also on Facebook. Just look for Keith Howard Seymour, and well, you'll find me. Y'all have a good weekend, and take care.